lads, welcome back to another video. This one, I didn't expect to be filming this one today. Obviously, I've thought it would have been coming for a while now, the decision that is, but Allan Johnston has officially left Dunfermline Athletic Football Club. The rumours started a few hours ago. I was actually let go early for college because I'd kind of finished my college work, didn't have much left to do in the day, and I was meant to be finishing at 3 o'clock and ended up finishing early anyway. And then when I got back home, it's currently 2:30, so at about 12:30ish, I went on my phone and that, and on Instagram people had been direct messaging me saying, looks like Allan Johnston's gone then and stuff like that. And then you pop over to Twitter and a lot of kind of online journalists, and then the Daily Record started to run with it, and just general kind of journalists in football that had a Twitter handle in Scotland were starting to run with the news. And once that had started to happen, I kind of believed it anyway before any official confirmation had actually happened, because, I mean, that kind of stuff had not happened throughout his tenure, and the amount of times that we've kind of called for his head in his tenure, the fact that it was happening this time, I just felt like it was always going to come to light. And then, of course, at about, I don't know, 2:15 or something, the official statement was released by the club, and it read, Dunfermline Athletic Football Club wish to announce that it is today sadly parted company with manager Allan Johnston and assistant manager Sandy Clark. DFC chairman Ross MacArthur stated, I wish to place on record our sincere thanks to Allan and Sandy for their considerable efforts on behalf of our club. We wish them well in the future. Stevie Crawford has agreed today to take charge of the team for Saturday's visit to Tannadice. Now, the kind of main thing for me in that statement is the fact that he said that they're sadly having to depart. It's obviously not a decision that they wanted to make, and of course it's not a decision that the fans would have really wanted either, apart from obviously the fact that they did want him to leave, but obviously they wouldn't have wanted him to fail as a manager. Ultimately, you want any manager that comes into your club to do extremely well for the club and get the best out of the squad that he has. And in the past few seasons, of course, got the promotion to League One, got us mid-table sort of finish in the first season back in the Championship, and then improved us again in the season after that. And that was a very good achievement by him, and he will be remembered for those good times now that he is parted company with the club and he's left. Of course, the immediate thinking will be that it's the best decision for the club right now. Due to the form that we were in, it's been horrendous so far this season, really. We've never really had a lot of back-to-back wins. We've had probably our longest unbeaten run, I think, was about 3, maybe 4 games. That was one of our longest runs this season since the start of the league campaign, I think. And that goes to show how poor the season is as a whole, and just why this decision had to be made. Each passing week, as the home wins continued to not come, the away record was fine, but it wasn't great. We're sitting 7th in the league table, and not having won a home game against Alloa and stuff like that. I'm assuming that this decision has been made based on kind of performance targets, and the fact that Allan Johnston probably hasn't met those targets overall is maybe the main reason why he's now not the manager of the Dunfermline Athletic Football Club. Having said that though, he's done fantastically well in the modern game. Obviously this is down to the board's kind of loyalty towards him, but he's managed to overcome 1,000 days as a manager of Dunfermline. I think he's over 1,300 days as manager of our club until today, of course. And that's a fantastic feat for any manager in the modern game, really. And he's managed so many games for us, he's given us so many good times, and I think that's what we need to remember. The good times that we had, obviously in League One, we had a fantastic squad that year, and yes, we were expected to go up, but the good times included games like in League One against Dundee. That win was absolutely fantastic, and it's probably one of my best days that I've ever had at the football, especially at East End Park. Faisal scoring all those goals in League One, another fantastic memory. And that full squad that won that league will be remembered for what it was. And of course he didn't sign all the players that were in that squad, but he did obviously contribute a lot of the recruitment that was in that squad as well. And he did a fantastic job in that season, and then improving us year on year in the years that he had us in the Championship. Apart from this season so far, he done a good job there as well. And the rebuild that he had in the summer just there is probably the thing that's really sort of killed it. And it's disappointing, as I said, because you don't want any manager to fail at your club. You don't want it to come to this, where basically the feeling was that nothing else could have really happened from now on, because for months now we've been calling for his head, and it was never really going to get back to what it once was. There was never really much passion towards Allan Johnston from the fans anyway, and there was never really much passion from him towards us as well. But there was always that feeling of that we would eventually get through a tough spell. But this season it's just felt completely different, and with every win it's branded as papering over the cracks, and then as soon as we get a loss it's back to behind square one really, and it's just a poisonous atmosphere in general. And it's not nice to be at the football when you're watching that and listening to that and stuff like that. And that's the kind of main thing going into this weekend now, that it is a sort of breath of fresh air, albeit that that's not a very nice thing to have to say considering a man's just lost his job. But it is a breath of fresh air for us, despite the fact that Stevie Crawford was still part of the same coaching staff that was involved in the last few weeks. But Stevie Crawford will have different ideas now that he is technically the temporary manager. And it doesn't say in that statement what we're going to do in terms of until the end of the season. Will Stevie Crawford get the gig until the end of the season, then we choose in the summer when we're more likely to have more targets available for us? Or will we look to appoint someone sooner than we expect, because obviously we're still having aspirations of getting to the playoffs this season, and will Stevie Crawford be able to get the best out of that squad, or could someone else come in and do that? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to do a second video today. Obviously this today was meant to be an episode of Punt It Long, but I couldn't ignore this news. It's massive for my football club, and I couldn't just do the Punt It Long episode and then the wee Dunfermline section would have been where I talked about this, because obviously I'm going to have an opinion on this and I need to be able to speak my mind on it. So overall, my opinion on Allan Johnston leaving Dunfermline Athletic Football Club is that, of course, you want to remember the good times now, and it's been a tough old season so far, but the memories that he's given us over the past 3.5 years, I think it is, that he's been manager. Since he came in, it was fantastic, bringing back players like Joe Cardle, Sean Murdoch, although he's been out for a long time now, but Sean Murdoch is a fantastic guy, and getting the best out of Faisal, and then bringing him back this season, albeit that hasn't worked out as well, but that wasn't really down to Allan Johnston himself. There's been a lot of positives within Allan Johnston's reign as Dunfermline manager. We've kind of come to the end of the tether with it, but of course, as I said, remember the good times, and let's just kind of see past it now and look into the future, and hopefully it'll be a brighter future for Dunfermline. If it's not this season, then we obviously need to look at it as we need to rebuild again next summer, because a lot of players are out of contract in the current squad, and we do need to look at sort of rebuilding again if something doesn't happen this season. If it does happen this season, then whoever takes over, whether that be Stevie Crawford or another permanent manager, then we'll see that as it comes. But for now, Allan Johnston's departed Dunfermline Athletic, and I'd like to thank him for all the good times, despite my frustrations in recent months. I do think that Allan Johnston's a very nice man, and he's done his job to the best of his ability, and whilst that wasn't good enough in the end, we had some good times, a lot of good times in fact. I could go on and on about this all day, but I'd end up repeating myself really, so I'm going to end it right here. I'm going to do a second video today where I speak about who could possibly replace Allan Johnston as manager, and I'm going to have a double upload today, so enjoy that when it comes. But for now, this has been this video, and as I said, Allan Johnston, thanks for the memories, and good luck in the rest of your footballing career and the rest of your life, as I assume that you're going to have a wee break for football now, considering that you've had 3.5 years of it straight. So, but that's it for this video guys, cheers for watching. If you did enjoy, please give it a like, comment down below your thoughts on Allan Johnston actually leaving Dunfermline Athletic. Do you think it's the right decision by the club? What do you think we should do now in terms of bringing in a new manager? That's going to be the topic of the next video, the double upload today, so look out for that when it comes, and until that video, I'll see you then. Cheers guys.